Are you allergic to penicillin? Or, how about heights? Are you absolutely terrified of looking down from a ledge? Or does it completely throw you?
Yeah, and have you ever wondered why on the night before a really major life-altering event, some people sleep totally soundly while others just toss and turn in a cold sweat?
Exactly. We tend to write these differences off as, like, random quirks of biology or personality.
Right, just the luck of the draw.
But what if they aren't quirks at all? What if they are physical proof that humanity doesn't actually share the same internal hardware? So, welcome to today's deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're looking at an excerpt from a truly fascinating, deeply philosophical text titled From Penicillin Allergy to the Formation of Surya.
Right, written by Swefeng, and it was translated and edited by Jijing.
Yes. And I mean, this is a text that really forces you to step entirely outside your conventional way of analyzing human behavior and biology.
It definitely does. And I should note right up front that this material contains some very bold spiritual, religious, and historical
Oh,
claims.
absolutely.
So our goal today isn't to validate or debunk the author's beliefs. We are just here to impartially unpack this fascinating worldview, examine the logic, and, see how all these seemingly disparate ideas connect into one grand theory.
Okay, let's unpack this, because our mission today is huge. We are going to journey from the mundane world of physical allergies and childhood fears all the way into ancient spiritual texts, the physical anomalies of monks' cremations.
It gets wild.
It really does. And
Um,
even survival strategies for literal cosmic waves. But to get there, we have to start with the author's fundamental premise.
Which is that despite all being human, individuals have radically different mental and emotional structures.
Right. And to illustrate this, the author shares a story from a family road trip back in 1999, driving a Nissan 800 kilometers from Harar to Victoria Falls.
Yeah, and that route takes them to an iron bridge over the Zambezi River. It's right on the border of Zimbabwe and Zambia.
Oh, I've seen pictures of that.
We're talking about a sheer drop of roughly 1,000 meters down to surging water and massive rocks.
Just visualizing that drop is enough to give most people severe vertigo, and people actually bungee jump off this bridge.
They do. So the author watches this young European girl, she's not even 20 years old, strap into the harness and just jump.
Wow. And this isn't hopping off a low wall. This is a terrifying plunge.
Right. A massive percentage of the population wouldn't even dare approach the edge. And grown men who do take the jump often come back up looking completely pale.
Shaking with adrenaline, yeah.
Exactly. But this girl is pulled back up. She's asked how the experience was, and she just smiles brightly and says, "Wonderful."
She is completely unfazed. Her heart rate barely even spiked.
Yeah, and the author uses that moment to establish a baseline concept. To this girl, the terrifying drop isn't a strange or frightening phenomenon. It is processed as completely normal by her nervous system.
So she isn't just acting brave or putting on a tough face,
No, her internal system simply does not register the stimulus as a threat.
which is such a contrast to another memory the author shares from 30 years prior. This was at Dongxiang County No. 3 Middle School in Gansu Province.
Oh, the snake prank.
Yes. A classmate brings a 1-meter-long dead snake onto the classroom podium and shakes it. The girls in the class just giggle at the prank. But there's this tall boy in the back row who screams and turns completely pale with absolute terror.
Right, over a dead snake.
Exactly. A dead snake objectively poses zero threat, but it triggered a massive physiological panic response in him.
And the text reinforces this by pointing to cultural touchstones, too. Think about reading classic literature like Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio or Notes from the Orchid Pavilion.
Or even just watching a horror movie.
Exactly. The author remembers going to see the 1989 movie Painted Skin at a theater in Zhangjiakou City. Some kids were so fundamentally terrified they couldn't even walk to the bathroom alone that night.
While other kids in the exact same theater just laughed at the ghost masks. So I want to pause here because I'm trying to wrap my head around the underlying mechanism the author is proposing.
Sure.
Is the argument that these fears are hardwired into our hardware? Or is this considered a psychological software glitch? Because, Freud might try to explain the boy with the snake through some repressed childhood trauma.
Right, or a parapsychologist might suggest an energy sensitivity. They treat it like a software bug.
Yeah, a bug that can be debugged through therapy. But the author seems to be saying, no, our baseline structures are just built completely differently from the factory floor.
Well, what's fascinating here is how the author bypasses the whole psychological debate entirely. The author states that the why, like the specific origin of the fear, matters far less than the undeniable fact that these individuals possess uniquely different internal structures.
Because our internal structures are so fundamentally different.
Exactly. And because of that, using our own personal understanding to judge the thoughts or actions of others will almost always lead to incorrect conclusions.
Right. If your brain doesn't possess the neurological pathways for the fear of heights, you literally cannot comprehend why someone else is paralyzed by the edge of a cliff.
You might just call them a coward, which is a completely false judgment based on your own structural bias.
Okay, so if this hardware theory only applied to getting dizzy on a bridge or being scared of a movie, it would just be an interesting biological quirk. But the implication here is much bigger, moving straight from emotional processing into physical survival.
It does. The author starts by pointing out mundane physical variations first, like some people have severe pollen allergies, some don't.
Or some people are allergic to specific metals, except for things like gold and silver.
Right. From there, the text scales the concept up to massive historical events, asking us to look at the 1348 Black Death.
A devastating plague. 1/3 of Europe's population died.
History books focus on the tragedy, but the author asks a deeply profound structural question. Why did the other two-thirds survive?
Wow, yeah. They were living in the same squalid conditions, breathing the same air, interacting with the same fleas and rats.
Exactly. Or, looking at modern examples, why do some people catch the flu or SARS while others in the same household are entirely untouched?
The text even goes into extreme drug resistance, noting that some people feel absolutely no effect from powerful painkillers like opioids and heroin, or even arousal drugs like Viagra.
Their biology just refuses to process the chemical input. It's like pouring water into a gas tank. The engine just doesn't recognize it.
It highlights a profound level of physiological variance. The human body is clearly not a standardized machine.
It really isn't.
But wait, here is where I need to seriously challenge the text's logic.
Okay, let's hear it.
I understand physical allergies. A physical allergy involves a clear biological mechanism: histamines, white blood cells, and immune system overreacting to a protein. But the author then claims people are literally allergic to ancient texts.
Yes, intellectual allergies.
Calling someone's dislike of the Bible or the Tao Te Ching an allergy feels like a massive dramatic leap. Does the author actually believe our cells reject these books, or is this just a metaphor for stubbornness?
The author treats it as a very real structural rejection, not just a metaphor for being stubborn. According to the text, foundational works like the Bible, the Quran, the Diamond Sutra, and the Tao Te Ching actually contain basic common sense knowledge.
Common sense, really.
Yeah, they are described as ordinary spiritual scientific wisdom. The problem arises when this data is fed into incompatible hardware.
Oh, I see. Think about the listener right now. They probably know someone who physically recoils or gets visibly agitated at the mere mention of religion.
Or conversely, someone whose brain completely shuts down the second you mention physics or science.
Precisely.
The author's view is that the moment some people hear the word scripture, their neurological pathways essentially output an error code. It is an intellectual allergy.
That's fascinating.
And the author expresses intense frustration that because of this structural incompatibility, people randomly misinterpret these texts. They take simple, spiritual common sense and twist it into something mysterious and unfathomable.
And framing it as mysterious scares people away.
Yeah.
Much like the tall boy screaming at the dead snake. They just lack the corresponding internal structure to digest the information without a massive allergic reaction.
Exactly.
Okay, so if human limits vary this wildly on the lower end of the spectrum, from basic immune survival to processing ancient wisdom, what happens when humanity pushes the absolute upper boundaries of those limits?
Right, because the text doesn't just dwell on our limitations. It explores acts of genius and physical transformation.
The author asks if Beethoven could write the heroic symphony, if Da Vinci could paint the Mona Lisa, or Newton discovered gravity from a falling apple. Why can't the rest of us do that?
And the author's answer is remarkably blunt. Stripping away all those romantic notions of hard work or sudden inspiration, we can't do it because we are fundamentally structurally different.
But genius is just the starting point here. The text introduces the concept of sarira, which pushes this hardware metaphor from the realm of the extraordinary into what sounds like pure physical alchemy.
Yes, Sarira.
For those who don't know, sarira refers to the relics or pearls found in the cremated ashes of Buddhist spiritual masters. The author points out that after Buddha Shakyamuni was cremated, his ashes contained crystal clear, colorful, steel-hard Sarira.
And the text makes sure to emphasize that this is not just ancient mythology. It brings the phenomenon right into the modern era,
Right.
citing the December 1990 cremation of a Singaporean Chinese monk named Master Hongchuan. After his body was cremated, they reportedly found 480 colored, crystal-like cerera in his ashes.
480. And there was also a startling claim from 1994 regarding Master Yuan Zhao at Fohui Temple on Mount Guanyin in Shaanxi.
Yeah, that one is intense.
The text states that during his cremation, his heart famously did not burn away into ash. Instead, it turned into a hard, dark brown relic. Now, a standard crematorium burns at around 1400 to 1800 degrees Fahrenheit.
Which vaporizes soft tissue.
Exactly. So how does a human heart literally turn into a dark brown stone in a fire? Is the author suggesting a meditative state can override thermodynamics? So this cultivation is like an extreme biological biohack.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to clearly define what they mean by cultivation. Cultivation in this context is not just a mindfulness exercise or deep breathing to lower your blood pressure.
Okay.
The text references an article from a website called Chinese Soul, written by Lifechanyuan, discussing the Yellow Emperor's perfect return. The underlying belief is that cultivation is a literal channel of communication and resonance between humans and gods.
So by practicing, you are actively altering your physical reality.
Yes, you are actively altering your cellular density and physical composition.
And the author actually shares their own personal experience with this. They claim that for 10 years, they have been almost entirely illness-free, requiring only a single painkiller on a rare occasion.
And they credit this entirely to a self-created cultivation method.
Yeah, they say during their practice, their mind goes completely blank, they feel no extreme heat or cold from their environment, and afterward, their consciousness becomes exceptionally clear.
Because the author views the mind and the body not as a duality, but as the exact same substance vibrating at different frequencies. By cultivating the mind, you are upgrading the hardware to process an entirely different level of physical existence.
Which is why a soft organ could theoretically become heat-resistant stone.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, so if we accept this premise that some humans can actively upgrade their biology to become immune to Earth's diseases and extreme temperatures, what happens when the threat isn't from Earth?
Right, the cosmic waves.
Yeah, because this text takes a very sudden, intense turn into something called cosmic waves. This is the ultimate climax of the author's thesis, and it serves as an urgent warning about the future of humanity.
According to the text, the universe experiences periodic cosmic waves. When these energetic waves arrive, they cause mass death. And unlike a localized natural disaster, you cannot escape them physically.
You can flee to the most remote corners of the Earth. You can dive in a submarine to the bottom of the ocean.
You can hide in a reinforced subterranean bunker. It will not matter.
The obvious question is, why wouldn't a bunker work? If it's a wave of energy, shouldn't lead or concrete stop it?
Because these waves do not operate on a purely kinetic, destructive level like a tsunami or a blast wave, they are described as energetic frequencies that directly impact and overwhelm the human nervous and psychological structure.
So a concrete bunker cannot block a frequency that targets the mind.
Exactly.
So how on earth do you survive an invisible wave that bypasses concrete to target your nervous system?
The author's proposed solution brings us right back to cultivation. They state that only those who have practiced advanced cultivation can survive.
Right, by entering what the author calls Lifechanyuan, which represents both a specific ideological pathway and an upgraded state of being. A person aligns their nervous system to resonate at the exact same frequency as the incoming cosmic waves.
And the author uses a highly specific medical metaphor here. They claim that entering Lifechanyuan to survive cosmic waves is exactly like getting the cowpox vaccine so you do not die from smallpox.
Here is where it gets really interesting for me. I am stuck on this idea. The cowpox vaccine works because you introduce a small, manageable amount of a virus into the bloodstream, teaching the white blood cells how to fight the major infection.
Right.
How can changing your thoughts, even deep meditative thoughts, act as a biological vaccine against a massive cosmic event?
Well, you have to follow the logic of the mechanism we discussed earlier. If mind and body are the same substance, then cultivation is not just thinking differently. Lifechanyuan cultivation is the process of exposing your nervous system to microfrequencies of the universe's ultimate truth.
So you are microdosing your hardware with cosmic reality.
Precisely. So when the massive cosmic wave finally hits, your nervous system already knows how to process that frequency without shattering. You resonate with it. The wave simply passes through you or elevates you rather than destroying you because you are vibrating at the exact same pitch.
And the author impartially reports a startling prediction regarding all of this. They claim that in the next 3 years or so, extraordinary, undeniable phenomena will occur across the globe that will objectively prove the true meaning of Lifechanyuan's birth and this impending cosmic shift.
And they tie this all together with references to utopian visions from across different traditions, like the Bible's world without illness, the Buddhist pure land of eternal life.
And Lifechanyuan's own concept of the 10,000-year world, an era where humans have upgraded their structures so profoundly that they can actually fly.
It's a vision of humanity that has completely transcended its current physical and psychological limitations by rewriting its own biological source code.
What an incredible journey this text has taken us on. I mean, we started with a simple family road trip in Zimbabwe, observing a teenager bungee jumping off a bridge. We explored the baseline physiological panic of a classroom prank involving a dead snake.
Yeah, and from there, we trace this theory of human hardware through the baffling survival rates of the Black Death.
Into the concept of intellectual allergies to ancient wisdom. We examined the literal alchemy of monks' cremation relics, the spiritual cowpox vaccine, all the way up to impending cosmic waves and a utopian future for those who can tune their internal frequency to match the universe.
This raises an important question. If our differing reactions to the world aren't just quirky personality traits, but actual structural definitions of our reality, then our internal state is the absolute most critical survival tool we possess.
The hardware you bring to the table dictates the universe you are capable of experiencing.
Exactly.
And that is precisely where the author leaves the reader. Not with neat, comforting answers, but with a series of incredibly challenging, provocative questions designed to make you look inward. So as we wrap up today's deep dive into the source material, I want to pose the exact questions the author asks for you to reflect on in your own quiet moments.
It's the perfect way to end it.
Do you have Sarira in your body? When will you have them? What are you really living for? Where are you rushing to in your busy life? And ultimately, what have you truly understood?
Thank you for joining us as we explored this profound perspective.
Keep questioning the limits of your own human experience. We'll see you on the next deep dive.